Are we live? Are we live? Hopefully. The internet's been going in, out. I don't know if it's my phone. I don't know if it's the cell service. I don't know if it's the nor'easter that's hitting New England right now. It was 55 the other day in March, late March, and then April hit, and it looks like we might get snow. Who knows? Nothing's wrong with the climate. Everything's cool. Just snow in April. Everything's cool, man. Welcome to the live. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell right there. Free for you to do. Means the world to me. I go live every weekday, sometimes twice a day, and sometimes on the weekends. But my word is every weekday. So here we are. Welcome. We got some stuff to talk about. Bill Maher. Never been a fan of his. I think he sits on a glass throne and likes to speak while he spittles at poor people, the working class, as I call them. And we'll talk about him and Steve-O. Got to address what Jon Stewart said about AI, and also Amazon finally maybe trying to help the planet, not hurt them. They're changing their boxes. We'll talk about all that. By the way, if you have subscribed and you're new to the family, you've joined in solidarity, thank you so much. It means the world to me. I really do appreciate it. It's been a very trying, difficult time for my family. And when I see new subscribers joining in, leaving stuff in the comments, good or bad, thank you for watching. It's really rad. So to all my subscribers, thank you so much. Do this for you, hopefully to entertain, make a joke or two, but also bring some things to light. We got to talk about some of this news. We got to call some stuff out, right? So yeah, thank you so much for joining the family, for subscribing. All right, what should we get into first? Also, I'm trying to do a Bad Boys trailer, Bad Boys Ride or Die reaction. So just keep an eye out for that. I struggle because I've put stuff up before and it got copyright, whatever, and I end up just taking it down. So, I mean, I'm trying to do it in a slick way because I spent a few days writing some, or hopefully funny stuff to do a reaction to the Bad Boys trailer, which if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It is hilarious. Watch him, Martin Lawrence. I don't know how old he's got to be 60, right? Close to 60. Watching him do a Bad Boys movie now is hilarious. And you know Will Smith, any kind of violent movie he can get mixed up in, he's all for it. I don't know. They didn't have him slapping enough people in that movie. Anyways, let's save it. So, to the subscribers, and if you can, hit subscribe because I'm trying to get that reaction video hopefully out by this weekend, by Friday. Hopefully. Can't give you my word on that one. Anyways, Jon Stewart. He was on Trending the other day. It was exciting to see Jon Stewart show, The Daily Show featuring Jon Stewart on Mondays. Exciting to see him get on YouTube trending. And I think his point about AI, so he discussed AI. He also talked about how this was a point of contention with him and Apple during his show on Apple, which he was like, why is Apple being so sensitive about just having a conversation about AI? He wanted to talk to the FTC chair, Federal Trade Commission chair, who has been very critical of big tech and Apple's like Meta, companies, not Apple's, companies like Meta and Apple. And Jon Stewart just wanted to have her on as a guest on his podcast show, whatever you want to call it, which I love that show. I think Jon Stewart is one of the most poignant, funny, honest assessments of our culture and society today. And it's almost, is it ironic? Is it irony that he does a comedy show and it's more honest and factual than these news shows? Heavy quotes. News does a lot of work for Fox News, CNN, Central Cable News Network. That news word does a lot of heavy lifting for some of those shows. And Jon Stewart just brings out the facts while he makes sarcastic comments or funny jokes. I love him. But he is making some news right now because he's saying when I was doing my show on Apple, they had They got their panties in a bunch. Apple got their panties in a bunch because Jon Stewart just wanted to broach the topic of AI with the FTC chair. And they wouldn't let him do it. So now he's back on the Daily Show and he got to do it. And he played a lot of clips from different CEOs talking about AI. I highly suggest you watch this. I put the article. That's the other thing. I always try to put the articles of the stories we talk about on this live stream in the description. So I put the one about Bill Maher, Jon Stewart that we're discussing now in the Amazon boxes, all in the description so you could read along. I highly encourage you to watch and read the things I discuss. And Jon Stewart playing these clips of CEOs. The Microsoft AI CEO was talking about how, you know, it does more of the work without the human tax. I believe he was the one that called it a human tax. And John was like, you mean the word formerly, or what we formerly knew as employees? And it's interesting because, you know, all these CEOs kind of admit or claim that AI will be able to solve climate change, cure diseases, has all these radical potentials for AI because it can, you know, solve things and think outside the box once it's programmed to do so. So all these CEOs are claiming that it has this wonderful potential to, you know, save humanity. But if you just look at how it's been used to decimate artists and designers and just rid them, let companies rid them, not pay them, so they could just use these AI art programs. And Jon Stewart kind of points out that these CEOs are saying one thing, but when they're interviewed on what their use for AI is right now, it's to get rid of their employees. It's to lay off tons of employees and use a few to utilize the AI and get the same productivity. Which I say to these companies, just remember, if you're laying off too many people, people aren't going to be able to afford your product. Who makes you rich? Where do you get your money from? Usually workers. If you don't know, our economies, especially our local economies, are 70% consumer purchasing power. So as the working class, as people who live in the neighborhoods and our communities, 70% of our economy is made up of our purchasing power. So it's just kind of sad, and I think it really truly highlights a treacherous time in our society where Jon Stewart highlighted, you know, that these companies say it can solve climate change, which we should probably work on now. And if AI can do that, why aren't these CEOs doing that? Because when they're interviewed on these business channels or Fox News, they're saying, oh yeah, we laid off 90% of the workers and AI is just picking up the slack. And the way the CEOs describe AI and humanity is disgusting. If you wake up and go to work for a living, you're part of the working class. And this should disgust you because these are people who have infinite wealth. They don't have to worry about rent or mortgages or taxes, nothing like that. Most of them pay less taxes than us. And the way they're describing AI is not to benefit humanity, although they might say that in a certain interview, that it's an assistant for humans and it's going to make us smarter and more productive and it's going to solve our problems and cure us. But in the reality, when you follow the money and watch what they're doing with what their actual use for AI is they're using it to eradicate jobs. And I think that might come back to bite them. You know, at the end of the day, I always say a lot of these earnings calls in these companies, when they have their quarterly earnings, they're all chasing one thing: Wall Street's expectations. Go on any earnings call, read any earnings call. It always begins with the company met or didn't meet Wall Street's expectations. And if you can guess, Wall Street's expectations are never like, they hired more people and pay people better. That's never Wall Street's expectations. It's just a constant grift for more profits. That's it, at any cost. And I don't know if that's like a healthy way to run things. You know, the culture, an economy, civilization, nature, natural resource. Like, there's a lot that could go wrong just needing infinite profits because you need to meet Wall Street's expectations. So I highly encourage you to watch this Jon Stewart AI thing on The Daily Show. It's here on YouTube. Watch it because it's got some fascinating stuff, and it's fascinating also to see these CEOs kind of be two-faced, you know? especially Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg, in one clip, he's like, "Oh, it's going to cure diseases and solve climate change." And then in the next clip, they're like, "How are you using it?" And it has Morgan Freeman's voice. It's probably like a parody, but basically he's using AI to make toast. And Jon Stewart has some golden jokes on that. But, the way we take this back is in solidarity. We should be pushing. I think that's why Apple, if Jon Stewart wondered why Apple was sensitive about talking about AI, well, because they probably have nefarious uses for it. And if you're wondering if a big tech company is going to get sensitive over a technology that they might use to harm our economy or our civilization or our planet, then yeah, they don't want that. They don't even want to have a conversation. I would always say that. Question people who don't even want to begin a conversation on a topic, because if you can't even start a dialogue, that's what I'm trying to do here on this live stream. Whether you agree with me or not, at least we need to have a dialogue. A conversation begins things. Communication